I'm actually surprised that you didn't complain about the level of the music this time.
No, it's not that music. It's the Twitter, that Twitter shit music, that clip you play. That's the loud one.
Is it like a jump scare for you? Is that what
It's not jump scare. It's just like, hey, let me play some
Startles
music.
you.
Oh, it's on 100%. Ow.
Like if you were holding a basket of food, it would just like fall. Like you'd be like, oh, and all your food would fall.
One of the medieval times. So I know the last time I was holding a basket of food. What is it? Hold on, ye old apple fall on the floor.
That's too funny. I think it's fitting. People are saying Happy Daredevil Eve. I think it's fitting that my birthday is the same week that Daredevil comes back out. It's like they purposely did it just for my birthday. I think.
See, that makes me think the show might be arse then, because usually you don't get very good birthday gifts.
I don't know. Maybe this year I'll get something good.
Didn't you get swatted last time or something?
No, I did not. That didn't happen. Speaking of, though, this week is the birthday stream on Saturday. So the goal today, everything that goes into the goal from last Thursday, today, and on the after party this week will go directly into the birthday stream. I'm going to go to the international market and try and buy some stuff that that I've never had before to try on stream. So that's what all the donations are going towards this week. So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I don't know what I'm going to get. I'm going to try between now and Saturday. I'm going to talk to everybody that I know that is either doesn't live in my area or lives outside of the country. Like I'll hit you up and be like, oh, let's give me some stuff I should try that I haven't tried before. So, cause you used to send me those goodie boxes, but what I might do is I might go to the international market tomorrow, see what they have, and then let you know, and you can say, yeah, try that.
Like write 5 things down or something.
Yeah, something like that. So we'll have it for Saturday because I want to do like a whole segment of me trying stuff that I've never had before. Also, I'm buying like a proper channel mixer for my microphone and everything, because I've been having issues with it. Like the last couple streams, it's been messing up. So I'm gonna buy a proper like XLR to USB for this mic because it supports that. So maybe my audio will be better. Maybe it'll sound like yours. Maybe it'll be as good as yours moving forward.
I don't know. Mine's just USB as well, so I know what you've been doing to your one.
Yeah, I don't know. Just finished Daredevil binge yesterday before Born Again starts. Yeah, I did mine already. I finished it up, I think, early last week sometime.
I've heard that like there's no need for it. Like I've heard that it's like it almost feels like a different show.
Like, I mean, maybe, but like I don't mind going back and watching stuff. Like I don't feel like it's homework or whatever. But I know some people are going to feel differently about it, and that's fine. It doesn't really matter too much, I guess. But does anybody in the chat? Okay, so we were talking about this before we went live. Is Daredevil like a midnight release where it comes out at midnight tomorrow, or is it at a set time tomorrow? I think it's at a set time, but I could be wrong. I think it's like 9:00 my time tomorrow is when it comes out. So I think it's at a set time. Yeah, see, 8 p.m. Central. So I was right. So it'll be exactly. Yeah, Cody came in clutch. So 9 p.m. would have been 2.5 hours ago for me.
Oh, so it comes out midday my time.
Yeah.
What is it? A fucking CW show? What's going on?
I think Disney is trying to get back into that, like, what do you call it? Household.
Like must watch TV, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
yeah. They want it to come out at the same time Well, I've been begging for this for a while because I hated when it came out at midnight because by the time I woke up, everything was spoiled. So it was really annoying. So I'm glad they're going back to a schedule where it feels like they're considering like. Because one of the things about CW shows was I liked the fact that it was on the same time for everybody. So you sat down, everybody sort of watched it within the same 3 hours. And I think that's what they're trying to do with some of their shows now. It's like a lot of the shows that have come back for them is basically doing that. So somebody asked, when's the after party? So I was going to talk to you about that. Obviously can't do it tomorrow because a lot of people would still be watching it when we went live. So we can't do it on like right after the stream. Plus, you're probably going to be going out and doing stuff later in the day, most likely. because you do things in the afternoon now, right? Like,
Yeah.
you go out in the afternoon. So I was thinking Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
At the normal time, like
in the morning
when you first wake up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can talk about it then, because those would basically just be streams about Daredevil, and then we'll probably, because I don't feel like that's gonna take up the whole like hour and a half that we're live or whatever. We'll probably stream and talk about Daredevil, and then if there's any other like Marvel specific news or anything breaking news, we can toss it in there, because I don't want to overlap the Tuesday night streams. So the after parties will be on Wednesday at 5:30 my time. So Paige, you have to figure out what that is for you, because 11:30 for me now. So
say that again. Like, it's Wednesday or what?
Wednesday for me at 5:30, which is going to be Thursday morning for you.
So that's what, 6 hours ago?
Yes.
Are you sure? That's about 8:30 my time, which is good.
Yeah, 6 hours ago, because 5:30 would have been 6 hours ago. Yes, well, roughly 6 hours ago. Yeah. So, is that good for you?
Yes, I already said that, Eric. Are you listening?
I'm just double checking. Like, just want to make sure.
Ear holes open.
Make sure. All right, we have another guest that just jumped in. I hope he's ready to come up with those. No. Darth Bunyan is here. Hopefully you're okay, and I'm not pulling you up too early on here.
He's naked.
No. I'm up late. I'm up still.
Okay. Glad to have you here. Hope everything is well with you right now. I don't know, where are you guys at weather-wise? Because it's been very weird here. It snowed for us last week at this time, and tomorrow it's going to be like sunny enough for like shorts and a tank top. So
it's been rainy as hell, and then all of a sudden the last few days it's been nice and sunny. So
Paige, you're heading into your winter time, aren't you?
Not for a couple months, but there's a tropical cyclone about to hit tomorrow, so RIP the dream.
Really?
Yeah.
Like right where you are?
Yeah, they're just wondering how big it's going to be, whether it's going to be like, they're saying it's probably going to be category 2, but they might go up. So wait and see. YOLO.
How nonchalant you sound is insane.
Yeah, the mine issue is just like how much rain, because that's like the biggest. I think they said it's going to be like maybe like 600.
I guess I should ask how common it is. How common is that for your area?
I mean, it just like they're always there. They're always the cyclones, but they usually like they hang out in the ocean, and it's just about whether they come into land. So,
so
like
Shark.
I don't know. Yeah, essentially like Ariel. It's like Sharknado, essentially, but you won't get eaten. You'll just get wet, or your house might get blown over.
Yeah. Tony says I agree. The weather's very bad. It's more than bipolar. I can't even tell you what it is for us. Chronic says, have I tried curry? Yes. Fried rice? Yes. I actually had some I had 2 of these things last week, which is the fried rice and the sweet and sour pork. Not a big fan of chow mein or egg foo young, but I like fried rice and sweet and sour pork. I also like sesame chicken.
Egg foo young.
Yeah, you like that? I like sesame chicken.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
Do you... is one of your... So, Eric, when you ordered Chinese or any sort of Asian, does your mind flash back to Dude, Where's My Car?
No, but now it probably will. Now that you put that in my head, it's probably
so. The next time you're ordering an egg roll,
I'm gonna be thinking of that movie. Yes, and then, yeah, I'm gonna crash out like they did at a certain point. Actually, I don't have to, because everybody orders things through apps now, so you don't really talk to anybody.
Yeah, but well, don't worry. You might get the DoorDash like messenger come in. It's like,
oh, you know what? I think it would be really funny, because we still haven't done, and you've been really busy anyway, but we haven't been able to get our podcast done. But I think it would be funny to do a stream where we look at like delivery fails. Have you ever seen some of the ones out there? I mean, there's some really, really bad ones. There was one where like somebody was telling the person to come and get the food out of the car. Have you seen those? Like the delivery person is like, come outside and get your food or whatever. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I've seen the ones where people I've seen the ones. Oh no, you go, Darth.
Just the funniest and saddest ones is when they're caught eating the food on the way up.
Oh yeah, those are bad.
I've seen the ones where the people place at the door, but the door opens out, so they can't open the door. They're gonna knock over the food, and it's the only way to get the food.
Oh, yeah.
So they put in front of like a fly screen or something like that, and it opens outwards.
Oh my
Bartender
gosh.
carrying nine big like pints on a tray.
Wow.
Yeah.
We they're doing work outside of our house where they're ripping up the road to put down new like asphalt and pavement and stuff. Asphalt. And when we ordered our food today, it took a while to get here because people don't want to drive on that, but we can't do anything about it because we can't leave either. So it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, by the way, you know, now you can't get out of your house, you're trapped. It's always a lot of fun. All right, we got a super chat here from, oh, go ahead, Darth.
Wasn't Domino's or somebody trying to do drone delivery?
Oh, Domino's was, yeah. Well, they did it somewhere, like a test thing.
I think it's in Texas. I think it's in Texas they do the test thing.
It's a bit ideal.
Look, I think in weather conditions where it's like snow on the ground and stuff, drone delivery would be perfect because then they wouldn't have to deal with any of that. But anyway, we're getting ready to do like a spring cleaning too. So we're gonna be
Speaking of drones quickly. Speaking of drones, I purchased one, right, to help with my channel and my videos. I bought it. I had it for 6 days, and on on go number 5, I broke it.
Yeah, I have a drone in the same situation. I went and purchased one. How much did yours cost? Because they're not cheap.
$460 in the catalog.
Yeah. Okay. So mine was like around the $500 mark. This was like years ago. I went and got the drone. I finally got it up and running, which took forever because the things are overly complicated. Figured out how to fly it, and one of the blades got busted. So I ordered a replacement blade for it. It took weeks for it to get here because it was one of those things where they just didn't have it in stock, and I have not used it since. So it's one of those things where I spent all that money on, and then I didn't really use it for anything. So anyway.
Yeah, I flew it into 2 lampposts, and then it died.
Oh my God. That's crazy. So it's completely totaled, like you can't do anything for it.
The arm is snapped off, and I need to get the drone.
Oh, that's rough. Naruto here with the $5 super chat. Finishing up Daredevil, 5 episodes left, just stopping in to show support. Would you want them to bring back the OG opening? It pops in my head a lot. I actually love the OG opening for Daredevil. So yeah, I would totally be good with that. Thank you for the $5. Here's another Naruto super chat for $5, I guess, before he heads out. Paige, I started watching Apple Cider Vinegar. Funnily enough, a couple weeks ago, a doc popped up on my Netflix search for Insta's worst scam artists. I haven't watched that yet. Did you finish it, Paige?
Yeah, it's only, I think it's 6 episodes long, so it doesn't take too long to get through it.
Interesting. All right, well, I'm going to check it out. Enjoy Daredevil, and, stop in and watch the stream later if you get done, because I don't know how long we're going to be live. Lone Wolf here says, speaking of the super chat, I heard the OG tune is in it. Apparently it has a slight change, but very little to where it's not ruined. We'll soon find out. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that, because I do love the tune there. So Sheldor here with the $2 super chat. Could Spider-Man meet Daredevil one day? I think, did we talk about it last stream? It was either this last stream or the stream before last. The issue is that they can do it in animation like they did with the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, because Marvel has the animation rights to everything Spider-Man on TV, but they can't do the live action stuff. So the only way that would ever happen is if they brought Daredevil into the movies, because then Daredevil could meet Spider-Man. But I don't know if I think and this is not, I'm not trying to be offensive towards you, Sheldor, but I think we just need to let the show come out and see where it is, like how good it is. I've heard really good stuff about it. Some of the complaints seem to be minor for me. Before we start worrying about getting Daredevil in the movies, because I think that's one of the things that people have complained about, is bringing characters from TVs into the movies. So I don't know if that's their highest priority, but I'm willing to wait and see what the character looks like in the new MCU version, because a lot of people were wondering if he was going to be doing a lot of the acrobatic stuff that we saw in She-Hulk, if he's going to be jumping around and doing flips and stuff. I thought that's fine. Do you guys want it more street level? Like, would you prefer for him to be more like Arrow, where it's just a lot of street level fighting like in the earlier seasons of Daredevil, or do you think they should get more like stylistic with the acrobatics and parkour and stuff like that? What do you think with Daredevil?
Both, right? I mean, he can have both. That's the beauty of him.
So you'd be okay with both of that then? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think like it needs that because like you gotta have um like the hallway fights to appease the original fans, but then you have to have the acrobatics for him to fit in to the MCU and the new style that he's going to be entering.
Hmm. Let's see here. What is this? What is this Stream Boss thing on my screen? I don't know what this is. I just noticed it. You see? Do you see it right there under the, like right here?
No.
You don't.
We
see
can't
this?
say that. It's just on your screen. We can't say that.
You can see that right there. I'm pointing.
No, I can't.
Yes, you can.
There's nothing. What are you talking about? There's nothing there.
Yeah. Stop gaslighting me. I'm
What
trying to figure
do you
out how to
mean?
turn
There's
it off.
nothing there.
I don't know how to turn it off. I'm just gonna make it invisible.
Well, it was already invisible. Oh, that thing.
Yes.
Yeah, there was nothing saying stream boss. It was just a picture of your head.
Well, that was the name of the element. I didn't know what it was.
Oh,
That's
well
what I was
then you
asking.
gotta give us extra context, Eric. What are you doing?
I'm guessing it's something for Twitch. It just doesn't work on YouTube. Speaking of though, before we get into the Marvel stuff, which we're going to talk about next, is after Saturday, people who have been wanting to do Twitch so they can donate through Twitch will be able to, because we're going to start multi-streaming over 3 places. So that'll be starting probably not the first week after my birthday, but the Thursday after my birthday. So like the Monday, but the Thursday after my birthday. So, but we'll see where we go there. Hey Quinlan, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you. Hey Staggervore, good to see you too. All right, so let's get into these leaks. So we have a bunch of like a massive leak. Now, before we start talking about this, do you guys think this was done on purpose? Or do you think this was like, some people are claiming this was a PR thing. They're trying to build hype for the upcoming movies, but I don't know if that's true. I think it was just an oversight, but I could be wrong. What do you guys think about that?
What's the leak about?
The Marvel artwork that leaked, basically. I'm asking in general, like these leaks that come out, like when Marvel has these big leaks that drop and everybody's like, oh, they did it on purpose.
Time, do you think? Yeah, like honestly, I think everybody's kind of 50-50 on Doomsday because, like, yes, Robert Downey is like a draw, but is it enough? Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that are not superhero fatigued, but MCU fatigued, right? Because there's a formula that everybody's seen nearly 30 times over. And then while they try to do new and different things, it hasn't always worked for everybody. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I think it is timed. Same with the Tom Holland stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, how many times can that really happen?
Yeah. Well, let's pull this up on the screen here. We have a few different ones. So I talked to Paige about how we're going to do this. The page that originally had all of this on it is gone. Like the artist nuked the page. It just says it's not found.
Interesting.
So I don't know if it was DMCA'd or if the guy just took it down or whatever. Now you can go on the Internet Archive. I have the Internet Archive open, but I'm afraid to show that. I think that might actually get my channel in trouble because I know a lot of people have been talking about it. I looked and there's videos that have been up for like 2 or 3 days of people talking about it, and their videos are still up. But I don't know if going to the archive of that guy's page and looking at the art there is going to be against terms of service. They're going to DMCA me. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just jump through some of the photos and look at them from Twitter because the ones on Twitter are still there. So I'm assuming if they're still on Twitter, they're safe to look at. Anyway, so let's, what are you going to say?
They've been like made clear that it's official, right?
Yeah, this is real concept art. It's just none of it is confirmed to be used like in the we don't know if it's going to be used in the movies or not. It's just the concept art. So let's start out with here's a few of them here. So this was one of them, which looks to be like a world of Hulks, which is part of the comic book, the Secret Wars. You know, there is an area where it's just a bunch of Hulks living together. But it looks to me like this is like, that's obviously Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. And it looks like it could be his kid there. I'm not sure if She-Hulk will show up or if that's supposed to be She-Hulk there with him. I don't know for sure 100%.
Yeah, it looks like it, right?
That's what I thought. Yeah, I was like, this looks like her, but I don't know if it is or not. There's no confirmation. But as you can see, and the reason why I know for sure that this is Battleworld, look in the background. There's a giant barrier in the back of this area, which tells me that they have split up all of the areas like they did in the comics, where there's like barriers between a lot of these zones. So this would be like the Hulk zone, where it's just everybody there is a Hulk, a version of the Hulk. And this would be a way for them to bring She-Hulk back in. It'd be a way for them to introduce Hulk's son, you know, in the movies instead of in the TV show, because everybody was making fun of the way he looked on She-Hulk. Thoughts on this? Does this look interesting to you? Because it does have sort of a medieval type vibe to it, and I think that's kind of a through line in a lot of these pictures. What do you think?
It's interesting. It's interesting that the strongest and most reckless and dangerous of all the beings have what would appear to mainly potentially be the flimsiest of houses and infrastructure. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe because they keep needing to rebuild. I don't know, but I can't imagine them all whipping out the hammer and nails every Friday. So I think it looks interesting. It's going to be, like, obviously, Professor Hulk's going to be the smartest of, like, a not very bright bunch. Do you know what I mean? Gotcha. So, so obviously it's not going to advance very far, but they seem to be doing very well. It's like the Shreks in the forest.
Yeah. Pagey's be back in a second. He just BRB'd.
Anthony says literally just got back now. Yeah.
Okay. If Anthony says, if anyone thinks this is to build up some hype is dumb, she literally has been working with Marvel for the last 7 years of her career and probably got fired yesterday. Has that been confirmed? Some people said that she was, but I haven't seen anything confirming that.
Oh. I don't mean on her behalf. I meant just on Marvel's in general. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I think. Like the scheduled leaks could be. Do you know what I mean? Because,
I don't think it was intentional, but I don't think Marvel minds at the same time. I think it's probably one of those, like, I don't know.
But this is the thing. Like, say for example, if they released these as a statement, right? As, oh, this is what you could be interested in. I think a lot of people would act just inherently more negatively than if it was like scuttlebutt and rumors and people working things out and puzzling and everything else that comes with that. Do you know what I mean? I think it makes it more fun and engaging for everybody. So who's to say, you know?
I also want to point out, before you look through any more of these, I want to share some stuff here. So this is some of the concept art for Thor: Love and Thunder. So I just want to point out that concept art does not necessarily equal what something's going to look like when it goes to film. It's literally concept. So we got this here. This was also from Thor: Love and Thunder. This was also from that. So there's a lot of stuff that show up in concept art that doesn't make it to the final product. And so I just wanted to be very clear on that. And we've got some more like stuff that wasn't used in concept art. So here's another one. So this is what looks to be the proto Young Avengers, whatever they're going to be called, champions, whatnot. And it looks like Wong is there sort of overseeing them. We have Star-Lord, which we knew Star-Lord supposedly was quote unquote coming back at some point. Not with the Guardians, because a lot of those characters have moved on. So it's just Star-Lord. So it seems like according to this concept art, he was going to be grouped into whatever the Young Avengers was going to be. Which he still could be. Like that could still be the plan for the characters to come back and be like one of the mentors for this group of heroes. And we have obviously Hawkeye. We have, I guess Cassie is whatever her code name is going to be here. We have Speed, we have Wiccan, and we have Ms. Marvel with some other random characters just around the background. Kind Thoughts on this one?
Isn't that the thing from Eternals?
What?
The green thing. It's not Speed, isn't it? The green thing from Eternals.
No. That character.
Right.
Sprite's no. Sprite's not. I don't think Sprite's ever going to come back. Sprite doesn't have powers or anything anymore.
Oh, she's gonna be back in Eternals too.
But isn't that the character though? Isn't that the?
No, I think that's supposed to be Speed, right?
Wiccan. Wiccan and Speed. Yeah.
And Dupe. I think Dupe is the name of that character. I'm not familiar with that. I didn't read that run of the X-Men.
Oh my god. Okay.
So
like honestly, it feels like Peter Quill's been put there as a joke. Do you know what I mean, like he's just hanging out in the back? It's like he weren't meant to be there. He's just like sliding in the picture.
Maybe. I mean, would you be against him being a mentor for the Young Avengers? Do you think that's a good spot for him, or do you think that he's not the right person for that?
I don't think he's anywhere close to the right person.
What about you, Paige? Do you think Star-Lord should be telling people how to be superheroes?
Well, probably not. But...
I mean, keep in mind, he was the reason why Thanos got away when they almost defeated him. It was his fault. So, but another notably missing character here is America Chavez, who
they explained that they said that in the concept for her character, she's at a movie premiere, so that's I don't know if anyone gets that joke, but we'll wait and see.
All right. And here is Star-Lord with Vision, kind of chilling, hanging out, having some, looks like wine and pizza.
And not in the medieval times. Like,
yeah, it's from the two pictures, it seems like Star-Lord was, at least in concept, supposed to be a big part of the story. Looks like he's jumping around from place to place. Do you think he's one of the like characters that we're following around? You know what I mean? That we're like a point of view character for us?
Okay, so the question is was the signing for this movie around the same time that Chris Pratt was everywhere? Do you know what I mean? Because then, if so, yes.
Well, recently they did I think they asked him a question about coming back, and he made it seem like he was coming back. So I'm wondering if he is. Because keep in mind, I think Chris Pratt is still, as far as I know, a pretty big box office bet for, like, if they're gambling with actors, he's one that's been in a lot of billion-dollar movies. So I feel like if we're talking about someone that you might put in a movie for box office appeal, he's probably on that list, right? I mean, he hasn't been in a box office bomb recently, right?
No, I'm just thinking, like, story wise, like, why him? I mean, like, he's supposed to be off living with his grandpa and stuff. Like, why?
Because the criticism of the MCU is that they're using too many new characters. I feel like he's a character they're throwing in there from the OG group that is sort of a point of view character. I think that's what they're doing. I think they want to have someone there that has that, like, Tony Stark, you know, Chris Evans type vibe from like the earlier phases. That's what I think. I think that's why they're showing him and stuff.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. If I had to guess, that would be my guess, honestly. Trying to see here.
I like I hate Star-Lord or anything. I
Yeah, I mean, it looks like everything that he's been in over the last 5 years or so has been pretty well received. So, and most of them have been financially successful movies. So, I feel like that's a pretty good shot for him to get into all this stuff. But, I mean, do we feel like so real talk on this. Do we feel like we need Star-Lord back in the new stories? And without the Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't know if I give a fuck about Star-Lord, to be quite honest. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. Like, he's a comedy character. I understand he's supposed to be the quote-unquote leader of the team, even though he was kind of a bumbling, lovable idiot. But I don't know if I necessarily need that. And this might be one of the things that people complain about, is that you have someone who is the jokester type character without someone to pull them in. Because White Vision's not going to do that. I don't know if Wong's going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We also don't know if this takes place on Battleworld or not.
Okay, so this is what I was going to say, right? Is we've only got Fantastic Four, then Doomsday, right? Mm-hmm. And if do you think like the movie is going to culminate with him making Battleworld, or it's going to happen sometime in it? Because we need to have spent time there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because in Endgame we got like what, half an hour in the snap world, like with everybody snapped.
I actually think Doomsday is going to be the build up to Battleworld.
Really?
That's what I think.
He's gonna be there. Oh.
Well, because I think the name Doomsday tells me that at the end of the movie, Doom is going to win. That's what I think. Like, I feel like that's the because we have to get reintroduced to a lot of these characters. So if we're getting only a couple of things before it happens in a 3-hour movie, I think there's plenty of time to reintroduce us to a lot of characters, but we need some characters that we already know to sort of help the story flow. And I think in reality, Star-Lord is one of those characters. Just like I think Wong is one of those characters. You know? We're also going to be talking about incursion events where we're going to see alternate realities smashed together. I think one of those is the Fantastic Four's reality. Because we're going to have the MCU and then whatever world the Fantastic Four is from. Because in the comics, before Secret Wars happens, there's only 2 realities colliding together at that point, which is the Ultimate Universe and the 616. And then that incursion happens. The heroes from the Ultimate Universe and the heroes from 616 work together to stop that from happening. They're not successful. Doom ends up basically saving reality with the help of Doctor Strange. And they create Battleworld in these pockets of reality where things are like what if stories that exist. Like, what if the whole world was Hulk? What if it was Spider City and all this? Like these are the stories they create. There's a lot of them. I think in order for us to get to that, at some point during that first movie, whether it be the second act, the beginning of the third act, the end of the movie, Doom has to win. That's what I think. And it needs to be a big swing to rope people in. But I think we need some of that movie to get reacquainted to the characters from the MCU.
Right. So, okay. So with the comics though, it was with the Beyonder, right? Mm-hmm. The conflict was happening.
You're talking about the early Secret Wars, right? The 1 and 2.
So okay. So who was in the second one? Who was Doctor Strange and Doom fighting for them to struggle to create the world again? You
mean the one that this is based on? The Secret Wars that this is based on? It's the one from 2015. Yeah. And what it is you have the version of the Fantastic Four from the Ultimate Universe with like the really fucked up Reed Richards, who is like super, like he thinks he's the smartest person in the world or whatever. He's working with his family to try and save their planet. That's also the Miles Morales universe and all of that. They are on their planet trying to stop the incursion on their side. Then you have the 616 that are trying to stop the incursion on their side. Doom is helping, but Doom's ulterior motive is to be the ruler of whatever remains, basically.
So there's no enemy, it's just nature. It's just like
it's an incursion event.
Happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of Fantastic Four, the incursion event is going to be like Galactus coming to our reality.
I think so. Yes, I think that's what it is.
And our reality is colliding, which means that Doom World is going to be just like a montage of incursions, and then we get him struggling at the end.
It could be, but one of the other theories, and this is the one that I think could also be the case, since the Fantastic Four is the movie leading into these big events or whatever, that one of the theories is that Doom World or that Battleworld already exists by the time we get to Doomsday, and Doomsday means he did win whatever the battle was to create his own reality. And that's what that movie is. And the Secret Wars is the ramifications of all that and people fighting back against Doom to sort of bring everything back together. It's very confusing because we just don't understand until we see the Fantastic Four movie, once we see that movie, we'll be able to put the pieces together a lot more. Because right now we're trying to put the puzzle together, missing pieces of that puzzle, which is the Fantastic Four movie. And what happens there. If Doom exists and Battleworld is the reality that we're on in Doomsday, then a lot of those movies that take place between Doomsday and Secret War that are supposed to be in Battleworld will take place under the impression that those people know that Lord God Doom whatever they decide to call him in the movies, they're fighting back against him anyway, because then what would the struggle be in those worlds outside of that, because he's a presence that's kind of overseeing everything. But Doctor Strange is his like second in command, I guess you could say. And in the comic, spoiler alert, Doctor Strange says that there was a toss-up between which one of them were going to be the kings of this reality. So it was either going to be Doctor Strange or Doctor Doom that was going to be the kings of these reality, and they're both working together, even though Doctor Doom is the one above all ruler of the reality. So it's going to be very convoluted. Like, I don't know how they're going to make it work. You know, it make it flow, how the Russos are going to do it.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Because the Beyonder stuff, you're talking about like the everybody's, I guess their favorite until 2015 was the second Secret Wars, where the Beyonder is there, and you know, and all that, and you meet the Beyonders as a race and stuff. Sometimes. Yeah. Cody with the $5 super chat. It's a heavy read and Doom story that the MCU doesn't have set up. Yeah, exactly. That's essentially the biggest thing. I don't want to say we wasted time, right? That we wasted time with all the stuff that we've been doing, you know, in the MCU up until this point. But bringing in the Fantastic Four and then immediately going into a Doctor Doom storyline, I don't think that was the original plan. I think Kang was the plan, and Doom was going to come later, so they could establish like a relationship between Reed and Doctor Doom. This feels like they kind of jumped ahead, if that makes any sense. Like they jumped into it, and that's why they have to do Doomsday first. Like they have to do a movie just about Doom. So it almost makes me wonder if half of Doomsday is going to be Doom and Reed, and then the second half will be Battleworld. I don't know. Again, until we see the Fantastic Four movie, we have no idea. Zaya coming in with a 199 super chat saying, I love my body parts. Well, there we go. No comment on that one. Okay, so this is the picture that a lot of people are excited about, and this is where we get to see Doom on the throne, wearing white here, with Doctor Strange on one side, Sue on the other, Franklin right there, and then I guess a few of the people in his palace just standing around. I'm not really sure who these characters are supposed to be. Someone said that looks like Star-Lord in front of him, but I don't know if that's true or not. But this looks really cool to me. And one thing I have noticed, though, is that it seems to me like Doom is going to be wearing his armor like in the comics pretty much the entire time, which means that Robert Downey Jr. will pretty much be like a voice actor for most of this.
Different sort of helmet.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, but one thing you'll notice is also, because I'm pretty sure that's meant to be Reed Richards in front of him. Like does Sue Storm look like Vanessa Kirby? Because then there's other concept art where it's Emily Blunt. So this seems like it's before this concept art might have been done. I don't know, like necessarily not recently. But then again, it's not like the Jonathan Major stuff was too long ago either, where they clearly shifted and they went to this. But then again, maybe this was meant to be in the sequel to... Well, it was, wasn't it? Because it was Secret Wars, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is the original... Like, some of this stuff might not even be happening. This could be from that original... This could be from that original Secret Wars, which was meant to be a sequel to the Kang movie.
Right.
So this could have been where...
That makes me wonder, where's the Kang art then? Like, where's that?
Because this is specifically from Secret Wars.
Right, but there's missing
well,
concept art.
Well, they might still use some of this concept art, but then I guess all that Kang stuff was decommissioned when they scrapped that. So it just gets... Oh, this artist just wasn't on that stuff. She wasn't working on Kang. She was working on Secret Wars.
Trying to find... There was a shot of Doom... Here it goes. Right here. This is the one. This is a great shot. This is a great shot. Like, anybody that was concerned, if this is the vibe of their Doom, even if they make small changes to it, if this is the vibe of their Doom, they nailed it. Because I see a lot of people mad. They're like, Robert Downey Jr. is going to get to play a version of Doom that looks badass, but it's RDJ, and, you know, obviously they're going to complain about that. But I think this nails it. Like, we've talked about the other Dooms that we've had. This nails Doctor Doom, to me. Any thoughts on this concept art at all?
I had to ask. I share the sentiment. again wish Robert Downey was doing something else in the movie. Like, if you're going to bring him back, just do something else.
So my assumption is we're not going to have Iron Man anywhere, right? We're not going to have a Tony Stark anywhere in this movie?
Well, it depends. Is it meant to be multiverse, or is it meant to be just to take on?
Well, on Battleworld, there's multiple versions of the same character.
Yeah, but this none of this concept art says that that's exactly what they're doing.
Right. So I'm wondering if we're not going to have an Iron Man
because he's
not
dead.
going to exist. Yeah.
Yeah, because he already is. Yeah. So
they've got Riri Williams. So.
But she wasn't in any of the concept art either. So she
they
wasn't.
Might in the Young Avengers. They might have thought a show would have got delayed again.
I mean, maybe she wasn't in the Young Avengers concept, so that's interesting. See, I'm trying to find here. We had some Fantastic Four stuff that popped out. That doesn't sound good. So here was some of the stuff that they had for the upcoming movie. It looks like Franklin will be a kid in the movie, or she's going to be pregnant at some point. I think all these costumes are fine. I don't have an issue with any of these. Here's the different versions of Herbie, which it looks like there might be more than one. Like, it might not just be one thing. Like, Herbie might be a series of robots in the movie. Here's a shot of them here. Now, again, I don't know if this necessarily looks like the actors. That doesn't look like Vanessa Kirby to me, or Pedro Pascal. Does it look like them to you?
No, it doesn't look like any of them, really. I'm pretty sure that's still meant to be Emily Blunt there and that Invisible Woman.
Now, this does look a bit more like the...
That looks like Pedro Pascal. That looks like...
That baby looks messed up.
Looks like fucking Sloth.
Oh, no. I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. There's another one here.
Yeah, see, like that. It sort of looks like that. Like that looks like Pedro Pascal, but even the Johnny Storm there, and even Sue Storm doesn't necessarily look like the actors. But that's Pedro Pascal there.
Yeah.
Is anyone else like put off by that? It's just creepy.
Put off by what?
Just the artwork, and just feels creepy.
I think it's because it's one of those uncanny valley things where they're trying to look like actors, but they don't always look like the actors. There's some more Fantastic Four stuff there. Looks like the Franklin is wearing like Spider-Man pajamas.
That's funny.
There's Shala Ball. Oh, there's actually, hold on, there was another one, so I can find it here, of Jocasta, which is the female version of Ultron.
See, my question is, where do we land after Secret Wars? I mean, is everything just going to be a complete redo? You know, where Robert Downey and Chris Evans are going to stand in there? I mean, is it going to come back, or is it just going to be a new Iron Man and Captain America?
There was actually a comment. Let me see if I can find it here. What do we think of this Jocasta design? I actually really like this one.
That is cool. That is sick.
Let's see. I thought I had it bookmarked, but there was someone made a comment from Marvel about the reboot, and I thought I bookmarked it, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't do it. Anyway, essentially saying that it's really hard to do a reboot of everything, because there's so much stuff that they just kind of want to keep around because it works. And here goes. All right. So it says, you can't really fully reboot anything. It's a very difficult thing to do, a living, breathing, fictional universe, to just start from scratch because of all the fan investment and love for the stories that have come so far. So I think that what we're going to get is essentially what actually happened with the Secret Wars storyline. Is they are going to pick the stuff that they think people love. They're going to keep those things around, and they're going to get rid of the stuff that people don't like. Yeah. So any of the movies or TV shows that didn't work, R.I.P. the dream. Gone. Those characters are gone.
Most of Phase 4 and 5.
Probably. Probably. Because I think what we're looking at is they're going to go in and they're going to say, what can we salvage from our existing universe? because we're getting ready to bring the X-Men in.
Yeah, I was about to say that they're going to just pick and choose what they think works best alongside the X-Men.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, with X-Men, you're going to be able to do as many, like there's so many, you can do individual shows for a bunch of different characters, whether it's shows or movies. And then just offshoot groups within the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And like Marvel's, they know that's going to work.
Shelter says, should they give each X-Men member a special on Disney Plus? No, I don't think so. So I will say this. One of the big issues with the Fox universe was that everything was group oriented, except for Wolverine. I think there were some characters that probably should have been given movies, or groups of characters should have been given movies, because that's kind of how the X-Men function. There's like 7 different X-Men titles going at any given time, where you have different characters getting a shot at like a lead role or something along those lines. And I think they dropped the ball on that. So I don't think every X-Men member should get a special on Disney Plus. However, I do think that Disney Plus will be the location for characters that aren't working in movies that they think they can use in TV. So we might see some of that happen. I think the era of like the big budget Hollywood actors coming onto Disney Plus TV shows for Marvel are done. I think that era is over. Like, I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're seeing a resurgence of like the Netflix era, because people love those shows. You could get invested in just those shows and never watch anything else from the MCU, and you're totally good. And I think that's what they want to go into. They want to do that again. They want to create a TV universe that isn't so tightly wound to the MCU. And as much as I love the connectivity, I think it is smart for them to sort of, build a little safety net for their TV side. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that? Don't agree with that?
Yeah, I do worry that like someday it's so big that it'll just implode. Because it is so big, it was just doomed to fail.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to see. I think Daredevil is going to be the litmus test of whether or not they have the capability of doing something that resonates with people.
There's already a bunch of Disney projects that have just flown by people's radar. Some of them they didn't even know. Some of them they just they know but don't have time for. And others they're just like, well, it doesn't connect, so I'm not bothered.
That's another thing, is that you risk the chance of having people not watch something because it's not connected. But then the roll of the dice is, do they stay away from movies because they feel like the movies are too connected to the TV shows? You know what I mean? So I don't know. We have another super chat here from Sheldor, $5 super chat. I agree with keeping the shows and movies separate for now until after Secret Wars. Daredevil works on TV better than movies. Kingpin works in both. I think we might see more crossover with stuff that is successful after Secret Wars, because I think they're going to streamline the MCU. That's what I think we're going to see. We're going to see a paring down of all of the stuff that confuses people and sort of streamline it. That's how I feel about it. Paige's got to jump out of here soon, though. Paige, before you go, give your thoughts on like the idea of a soft reboot. Like, how do you feel about this? Because it's kind of what the DCU is doing at the moment with James Gunn and stuff, and some people don't like that. Do you think this is a good idea, bad idea? What do you think?
I think I think Marvel's at the point where it sort of has to do a bit of spring cleaning, but they could do it in a much cleaner way than DC's doing. DC's like doing it like almost like an email where it went to everyone's junk folder or something like that. But Marvel could do it where like you're doing a group-wide conference PowerPoint and doing it slowly so everyone understands.
Yeah.
In these 2 movies, like you understand when you're watching Doomsday that's the thread that like this multiverse thing is happening, and then Secret Wars you make it pretty clear that you're entering a new thing where things are going to change.
Yeah.
And both of those movies are probably going to make $2 billion. So Marvel's probably doing it in a way in which, but they've built up. Obviously it's different circumstances and different situations that both companies are in. But Marvel should hypothetically work better just because of the nature of it's got 2 films leading into that reboot. It just depends how much has changed and whether people vibe with the change. That's the only thing. Like, do people do they do something where people don't like it. Like they remove a character, like, hold on, we like this character. But then again, like you're saying, like they probably looked at what's worked and what hasn't, viewership wise, box office wise, and gone, okay, people aren't digging this, but they're digging this.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, if you like this character, you should have, maybe more people should have watched the goddamn thing.
I agree. I totally agree. I want to point out that also Captain America: Brave New World is still number 1, 3 weeks in the box office, not making as much money as I think the studio wants it to make, but still in first place. So it tells me that people just aren't supporting movies right now in general. It feels like, especially in the United States, domestically, we're not seeing those big numbers come up. It seems like things are doing better in other countries right now in terms of support for movies. A lot of that has to do with a bunch of stuff that
I
we're
think
going to talk about.
I think Marvel just read the room wrong when it comes to February releases, and they took Black Panther and Captain Marvel and went, oh, well, they made a lot of money, but they were before Infinity War and Endgame. I'm sure Black Panther still makes a lot of money, but it also got boosted a bit by the fact Infinity War was literally coming up and Black Panther was in that trailer a lot.
So would you say that they should have been locked in a little bit more into like what people want to see instead of like just assuming that everything is going to do
I think you just got to pick and choose where something goes. Like, release is so important. Like, it's putting a Christmas movie in March. Like, what are we doing? Like, you don't put a Christmas movie in March. You put a fucking, like, a scary Halloween movie, like one that's literally set on Halloween, or do you put it in April? No, you put it in October.
Yeah.
So that's where, like, that you need to, you know, you got to pick and choose. Like, I'm sure next year, like, is there a movie set for February next year? They probably don't, knowing them. They could have easily just delayed Captain America.
I don't think so. I think the next movie is going to be the Doomsday movie.
It's Fantastic Four, and then so there's nothing in February, so it's pretty much almost a year gap between movies. Which
is honestly, I think it's fine, because we're going to be getting like a lot of other random projects between now and then. But you know, the reality is, if they want to get these movies out, they would have had to been working on it already, and there's nothing in production at the moment they could throw out. So that's it. It's Fantastic Four into Doomsday. It's pretty much the way it's going to go. So anyway, Anthony says soft reboot makes sense. That's all. Member for 54 months. Thank you so much, Anthony, for the support. Yeah, soft reboot I think is what works. Lone Wolf says, wait, are you taking donations through Twitch as well? It looks like Twitch on your screen. I am using OBS right now to do this, which is why I will be starting again in like a week. I will be streaming through Twitch as well. And people that want to donate through Twitch donations, like through PayPal and stuff, will be able to do that. So I'll let everybody know, though, the week that happens. Do you have to dip out, Paigey, or no?
I'll go down a couple minutes if you want to.
Okay. We'll do one more super chat. Screwface Capone, $5 super chat. I'd rather see less projects that depend on each other along with separate animated universe, kind of like DC's animated universe. So I agree with this. I think that there was a simplicity to the earlier phases. Would you guys agree with that? I feel like it was like the line was easier to follow, I guess.
100%, yeah.
Because it was just watch the movies and then eventually you'll get a big movie. You know what I mean? That was sort of where it was. I think ultimately the fatigue thing is confused with what's actually happening, which is just audience confusion. I think there's too many things happening. It's like watching a magic act, you know, this hand over here is doing one thing and this hand is doing another or whatever. And people are getting confused a little bit. That's what I think personally. I don't know. Is that right, wrong?
I would agree. I would agree. Especially when there's so many things to account for, from just pieces on the chessboard to goddamn time and space mechanics. You know what I mean? So I would 100% agree. I would even go far as to say that they should have a flowchart on their website, or even, I mean, I know they got you can watch them in order on Disney Plus, which kind of helps some people. But even then, I think people might struggle a bit. So some kind of visual aid might help.
I would say this. So a couple criticisms about the TV era of Marvel. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier should have been a movie. I think that should have been Captain America 4. Personally, I think they could have pared it down and made it into like a 2.5 hour movie that everybody could have gone and watched. I know they did it as a TV show because they were trying to bolster Disney Plus. That was part of the Bob Chapek era of Disney, and they did that. I like it as a TV show, but I actually think it would have worked as a movie as well. That's fine.
You know what? I genuinely agree, actually, and I love Cap 4. I think it's a really good movie.
It should have been Cap 5. Cap 4 should have been Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's what I think.
I agree.
I think WandaVision works as a TV show. That's one of the ones that I think actually works as a TV show. I think Loki works as a TV show. And She-Hulk works as a TV show. I think, for me, the TV shows... Okay, so let's use a gaming reference to totally confuse everybody, make it even more confusing. I think the TV shows should be side quest. I think that the movies should be the main story and the TV shows should be side quests. Optional things that you can use as like additional context that doesn't necessarily tie into anything. And I think introducing major characters in TV shows and then trying to put them into the main storyline confuses people. And that's what happened with the Marvels. And I think to some degree it happened with Captain America Brave New World. I disagree that I think you have to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I will concede that it might be a little bit confusing for like a casual audience. You know what I mean? I will meet people halfway on that argument. But I think the movie does a good job of sort of explaining everything, to be honest. Yeah, Agatha is another really good example of that as a side story. By the way, we hit the goal. There's no special thing for that. Again, the goal is just going to feed into the stream on Saturday, and every bit that you guys continue to tip is going to feed into the celebration on Saturday, the birthday party stream. Paigey, are you still hanging out, or you got to go?
Gotta go.
All right. Thank you, Paigey, for being here. Head out, have a good time. He will be joining me for the after party on Wednesday to talk about Daredevil. So see you later and get geeked out. All right. We actually have some Star Wars stuff to talk about, Darth, so I'm glad you're hanging out. I actually had a little chart I wanted to look at and see what your thoughts are. Lone Wolf here with a member for 2 months. Any actor you think deserves a second chance in X-Men? So we're talking about Fox era X-Men. Obviously we're not talking about Wolverine. We're not talking about Hugh Jackman because he's already kind of established. Or X-23, Laura, because I think she's established too. So we're going to take those two out of the equation. And I'm going to throw it over to you, Darth. Are you a fan of those X-Men movies, of the Fox era X-Men movies?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen Dark Phoenix just because of how much it got shat upon. I was just like, I'm just not going to waste my time.
Yeah.
But I think Cody Schmidt McPhee, whatever his name is, as Kurt Wagner, Nightcrawler.
Oh, yeah.
I think he should get another go.
Yeah.
Because I think he did great with the little that he had. Because I would always want more Nightcrawler. And I think he did a great job. This
is going to be controversial, maybe, but if I'm picking one actor, one out of all of that era that deserves a second chance, I would have to. No, not at all. I'm going to go with someone that I think played a very good young version of a character, but now could play the older version. And that's Michael Fassbender as Magneto. I would love to see him come back as Magneto, to be completely honest. I think he did a great job playing a younger Magneto. And as he's gotten older, I think he could do a good job of playing an older Magneto. So that's my opinion. Like, I think he's the one person that I'd be totally okay with him coming back and being a part of it. But your option is good too, because I think that second X-Men movie got everybody excited about Nightcrawler, and then we saw him later on, and he had the opportunity to play that character in a younger setting. Really got people excited about Nightcrawler. So,
I think Michael Fassbender could genuinely happen. Like because I think that like casting for a Magneto is going to be difficult, right? Because they want longevity with the X-Men, right? But then you want it to be like age appropriate and for it to make sense,
right?
So like, do you think they're going to go like for a 60s plus Magneto and Charles, or do you think they're going to go like late 30s, 40s, and they're actually going to deal with teenagers?
I actually think Michael Fassbender could play like a early 40s character. I think he still looks enough that he could do it. Because how old is he anyway? Let me look it up.
45. I'll say.
He is 47. So yeah, he could do that. But they could also, if they dyed his hair white and gave him like stubble and stuff, they could do the older Magneto with him pretty easily too. So I feel like he'd be okay with that. I don't know what route they're going to go with, like a soft reboot or whatever.
That's the
in
thing.
terms
They,
of the
like,
X-Men
they
and
have
everything.
such
Yeah, go ahead.
limited options because it's basically here's a bunch of worlds squished together, so you're gonna basically just get the same characters but rebooted like in a different actor skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
With,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be so weird. It's gonna be so weird.
I think that the X-Men, whatever X-Men project they do at the very first time, is going to be scrutinized heavily about the casting choices. I think that's a really big deal.
100%. Yeah.
Cody with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Cody. I think one of the biggest things is the fact that Kang wasn't set up in a movie. Yeah, Loki season 2. Great season. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Loki season 2.
Of course,
great season of TV. Yeah, wonderful season of TV. So
made no sense. It was a great season of TV that made no sense.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think season 1 of Loki is still better than season 2, but
100%.
But it's fine. I think it was a great season of TV. But I think
also sorry.
No, go ahead. You go for it.
No. Like, my point isn't about Kang, so please continue.
I was just going to say about the whole Kang thing is, I think they were planning on at least 3 to 4 variants of Kang being big in the MCU before we got to the big Avengers film. I think Kang was supposed to be the villain of a lot of stuff. I think Quantumania showed that it's possible that he wasn't a big draw for everybody, which is fine. Maybe they could have done more with him. But I think that the knee-jerk reaction to Kang not working is why we got Doom and why we got RDJ as Doom. That's what I think. But
so my thing is do you remember, like, I basically I've reconciled my whole issue with the X-Men and the MCU. Halfway, right? Because basically I think it came off the back of a conversation we were having before. And it's like, how can you suddenly have hate for X-Men? Do you mean people born with powers and stuff? And I think after Secret Wars, there could be like a period of time that everybody blames superpower people for the incursions happening in the first place, because it's not like people shopping in Subway. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's their fault that it happened in the first place, that they were even put into danger and into separate categories and everything. So if there's like a universal pan of heroes in general, and then some people have to like try and rise above it, but like X-Men suffer the worst, like that I can get on board with. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they have an opportunity to sort of, to be quite honest, fix some of the issues they've had in the MCU with this reboot. And I look forward to seeing how they're going to accomplish that. Will they be successful? I don't know. I have no idea. Is it going to all work? I don't know. But I feel like we're in a space where they have a very unique chance to look at some of the stuff that just wasn't working for them and go, you know what, we can fix this. We can do something with this. And really bring in some good, like, I would say focus on the quality. If you're going to take a long time to put stuff out, like RIP Blade, it's taking forever. If you're going to take a long time to put stuff out, just take a chance to like double, triple, quadruple check everything you're going to do and make sure you really give a shit about it. Because I think one of the biggest issues is people believe that, that Marvel doesn't really give a shit about some of the stuff they're putting out. And I don't necessarily agree with that criticism 100%, but I think that they could definitely use a little bit of self-reflection on some of these projects. Personally, is that fair?
That's fair. That is fair. Like, there's like, talking of which, like, this is why the show Bibles needs to be a thing. Right?
Yes.
Because with She-Hulk, there was that bit in the newspaper where they were talking about the Celestial bit, Tiamat, and they talked about a man in a bar with metal claws, right, implying Wolverine.
Yeah.
But they've only just named the source adamantium because everybody's experimenting on it. So are they saying that like Wolverine was created in the new space
prior to like the adamantium and his claws were made of something else? Is that what you're getting at? Like they're made of vibranium?
Oh no, just
or
like
something?
just that they were made in the experiments that happened on Tiamat. So like when he landed or when he was coming out, all of the nations flocked there and set up their little test sites.
Right.
It could be that in that instance, Wolverine was created.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. They could 100%. That could work. I could see that. Quinlan says, I wonder who will be the next villain after Doom. I think Apocalypse. I think we're going to see them setting up Apocalypse as the big character for the X-Men. And they could definitely pull in Avengers to face off against Apocalypse, as supporting characters in that. Or, I mean, they could go a completely different direction and keep Galactus as like the big villain. Use him as an Avengers level villain. Even though he is primarily a Fantastic Four villain, I feel like they could drag that out a little bit.
Do you know, like they love to be fan servicey, right? And what they could do is just go like full symbiote arc.
I would love that. I have no notes on that one. I would love that. That would be great. I mean, clearly they were trying to set that up with the third Venom movie, but So Lone Wolf says that they can do X-Men versus Avengers. I think we need to see the X-Men set up as a rival for the Avengers first before we do X-Men versus Avengers. So I think we need to get to we need to do like a couple of years with the mutants before we do like an X-Men versus Avengers. But I do agree that would be a really good movie. I think that would set up a really good movie.
Otherwise, unless you're just a fan of the X-Men, you're just gonna be rooting for the Avengers because you know and love them. Everyone else is
you need to love the X-Men as much as you love the Avengers. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some Star Wars stuff. And you guys can super chat about whatever you want. Like, all topics are fine. We'll chat about whatever. We're just kind of having a chill night. All right, so these are the status of upcoming films. Now, you heard the news about Kathleen Kennedy retiring, and then she's not actually retiring. Did you hear about all that drama around that?
I heard retiring. Didn't hear not actually retiring.
She's not actually retiring. So here's the deal. Yeah, so here's the deal. She announced the news outlets, and some of the ones that are pretty big, announced that she was retiring at the end of 2025. And so they were coming up with like who they think could replace her. They dropped obviously Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau. They even said Kevin Feige, J.J. Abrams. They've dropped a bunch of names. And they did that for a couple of days, and then she actually did an interview. I guess she saw the story, and she's like, that's not what I said, or whatever. So she did an interview, and she said that there are plans for her to step away from like the lead position at Lucasfilm, like not doing that anymore. And then that someone's going to come in and take her place for that. But she's still going to be working with Disney and Star Wars and all that, making movies. She said she'll make movies until she dies. So she's still going to be a part of that. She also said that she was going to be working with whoever the new person is. So she's not retiring. She's not leaving. She's not walking away from all of this. She's just going to go into more of like, basically.
Every time they thought they got rid of her, she keeps coming back.
So all that drama is going on. Yeah. By the way, I mean, do you have an opinion about Kathleen's work as like the overseer of Star Wars? Do you like? What are your thoughts on that in general? Because I know that you've loved some of the stuff, you've not liked everything, but what are your general thoughts of her as like the Kevin Feige of Star Wars?
I have enjoyed The Acolyte. I enjoyed Andor. I've enjoyed everything they've done. Honestly, like the movies, they had their own problems. Do you know what I mean? We all know the shuffling around of divisions and directors and everything else, so like that speaks for itself. But everything else, for the most part has been like a solid win. I mean, there are some things that I would change, but that could be said for any creative project.
100%.
I think she's done very, very well, because this is a legacy that has like a very wide audience. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And to hit the whole target is impossible. You know what I mean? And so they've been doing the best that they can, and I've been enjoying all of it.
Okay. Before we get into this, though, we do have a super chat from Crazy Cat Lady. Good to see you, Crazy Cat Lady. $5 super chat. Thank you so much for the support. Daredevil Born Again soon. I had feelings that the Tiana cartoon was going to get canceled because we had nothing about it recently. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the thing. We're going to go from that and this into that. So, yeah, we'll get there. But thank you for the super chat. And yeah, it looks like Disney is shifting some of their priorities for streaming stuff, which we're going to talk about that when we get to that story because I have my thoughts on that. But let's get through this first. So these are status of upcoming films from Star Wars, and I don't know if we have a lot of news on the shows particularly, but these are the movies. So Simon Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy. Simon Kinberg will write all 3 films, which are expected to be introducing new characters. An original story will be a new saga that moves us into the future. What do you think about this? Are you a fan? Are you familiar with Simon Kinberg's work? And what do you think about this? Okay. So I'm going to tell you some of the stuff. Let's see. Simon, because I know Simon did some stuff that I loved, but let me see what everything else he's got under his belt. So, ironically enough, he worked on Dark Phoenix, just so you know. So there was that.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So he was the producer for most of the X-Men movies from the Fox era.
Oh.
And he was a writer on a few of them, like X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. So there's that.
Oh, okay. The 2 iffy ones, right? Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of what his background is.
The issue is like when it says the new saga that moves us into the future, right? How much of it is going to be like his vision versus like the creative team at the
you mean as the producer of it, like the person overseeing it?
Yeah. Like how much creative control does he have? Is he just writing and directing? Is he like you say producing the whole thing? Because a different answer leads to a different movie,
right.
Which depending on what answer it is depends on how skeptical I am. There are many different avenues in which Star Wars can go from now. Whether it's incredibly Jedi light, whether it's incredibly Jedi heavy, like mixed. It could just dispose of the Force completely for a while and leave that to the shows and other movies. It really depends. Everybody's vision of Star Wars is different. Some people is the like the dusty kind of broken aesthetic. Others is the fall of the Republic or the High Republic era. I mean, everybody's is completely different. So obviously that's what he's going to be getting. But then, like say with like the Skeleton Crew, with that just happening, there's basically like a boon.
By the way, I fucking love that show. I love Skeleton Crew. So good.
There's a boon of credits for the New Republic, right? The issue is that also has to tie into episode 7, 8, and 9. Do you know what I mean? So like, the whole thing's as convoluted as the goddamn MCU.
BTM Reviews, good to see you. Good for you to be here, man. I need to make it back over to your neck of the woods soon. Haven't had a chance to stop in, but good to see you. All right, so we have Mandalorian Grogu. Now, this is wrapped filming and releases on May 22nd, 2026. We got Pedro Pascal, Sigourney Weaver, and Jeremy Allen White. I mean, I like the Mandalorian series. It's pretty. I have more positives than negatives when I think about it, so I think this is good. I don't know if this means we're getting another show with these characters, or if that's it. If this is the wrap up for the story, do you know anything more about it? Chat, do you know anything about it? I don't know. From what I understand, this was replacing another season of the show. Apparently,
I know there's another one coming. There's still another season coming.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure of it.
So here's the question: Will this translate better than the MCU stuff? Because this is taking a TV show and turning it into a movie. So is this going to translate from TV to movie? This is a big roll of the dice.
It depends who's doing it, right? Because if you look at so this is the thing, right? So with season 1, episode 1, you have like a whole Western feel, right? But then when you get to season 3, it's more of a ensemble kind of caper kind of feel. Do you know what I mean? So it depends what they're going to do and for it to translate.
Yeah.
But Grogu on himself is a massive draw for adults and children alike. And for them to be able to bond over 90 minutes to like a little bit longer over the little green guy who's going to be in most of the movie. I want to say like $1 billion or whatever because like, the whole movie.
So you think this is going to break that curse of like TV to movie? You think this is going to do that or
100%? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have big faith in these two guys. Like honestly, even people that like aren't fully into Star Wars carry around that goddamn Grogu doll. Like he's everywhere.
So Ace of Card here says, I want Kathleen to leave. First off, not because she's a woman. Well, whenever somebody prefaces it with that, I'm like, is that just like it's just one of those things where it's like I'm not punching you because I hate your face. I'm punching you for another reason. Just kidding, Ace of Card. Because she is not creative. She just the person funded the project and that is all to her. She's just a money person. I would say if you look at the track record of Kathleen Kennedy's work and you think that she's not a creative person, I think you honestly just need to go back and double check your thoughts on that. Because she's been a part of some of the biggest cultural things of our time. Most of the nostalgic stuff that we think about now when we go back to the 80s and stuff is stuff that she worked on or she had a part in. You don't have to like her. You can say, I don't like her work. That's why I asked Darth what he thinks of her, because I agree with that. But I do believe there is a lot of sexism involved with the hate of Kathleen Kennedy. I just think it is, because you look at, so I would say Kathleen Kennedy is the equivalent of where Kevin Feige is, right? In Marvel, she's the one putting together all these things at the top end. And when stuff goes wrong in Marvel, you don't see fire Kevin Feige. You know what I mean? Like I don't see any movements like that. Are there people that say that? Of course there are people that say that. But I don't see any big movements like that. Like this Kathleen Kennedy hate has been something that is, I called it like an outrage, a foundation of the outrage content. Like it's one of those things where it's like evergreen. Like you can say it over and over and over again and people have. So I think it's just one of those things where do people truly not like Kathleen Kennedy, or do they not like her because they've been told not to like her? And that's the question I always ask. Because yes, there are questionable things that Kathleen has done. There's some projects that she's done that I've not been too happy about her overseeing. But is she personally responsible for that? Is she personally responsible for the stuff that I didn't like? I don't know how to answer that question, because maybe she had something to do with a lot of it. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she was giving creative people space. That's what we want, right? We want directors and writers and creative people to have the opportunity to make the things they want to make. So if somebody gives them that opportunity and says, here, you can do that, and then it fails, do you blame them because they failed, or do you go after her because she said it was okay? Like, it's one of those complicated scenarios where I don't know if there's a definitive answer about it. I think Kathleen Kennedy has overseen the most profitable Star Wars trilogy, which is a sequel trilogy, which is a $4.4 billion trilogy. So if we're arguing that money is the driving factor in what the studios want for their IPs, she box checked. So then if we're going to argue it's about the quality, then the money can't be a factor either, because then you're talking about a different metric. So it's one of those complicated conversations where it really just comes down to personal opinion. At the end of the day, that's what it should be. It should be your personal opinion. I think these campaigns to get people fired, which, Ace, I'm not saying that you're doing that. I want to reiterate that. I'm not saying that you're part of that. But these campaigns online to get people fired because you don't like something they're doing is crazy to me. It's just crazy to me. I can't get on board with that. Anyway, let me get off my soapbox. All right, let's get back over to this. So we have the new Jedi Order, which is the Daisy Ridley one on its fourth writer.
Right. So this is what I was talking about, right?
Okay, go ahead. Say what you got to say.
Basically, like, this is what I was talking about, like the separation and distinction of what people think Star Wars is. Because up top, you got Simon Kinberg doing the new trilogy. Mm-hmm. But then you also got a separate
trilogy
movie, the new Jedi Order is a movie, not a trilogy, right?
You don't think it's going to be a series of films with Daisy Ridley in it?
No, no. I think she's gonna do one and see how the response is before she does another
Okay,
two.
so it's sort of like a asterisk on it. Like if it does good, then
Yeah,
they'll continue. Okay.
yeah. Because she's been real 50-50 with fan reception because obviously everybody's just really mean.
Mm.
But yeah, so like this is about the Jedi Order and the expansion of.
So basically, rebuilding and like
Yeah,
reestablishing what the Jedi Order is in the
what it
modern
means.
Star
Yeah,
Wars. Right. Okay.
yeah. I would argue that this should be done with Cal Kestis over Daisy, over Rey,
Okay.
or at least alongside.
Got it. And this is set to be delayed probably because it's on a fourth writer, and it's supposed to come out next Christmas. So.
Oh, okay. A while
Yeah.
away yet.
That's still a long ways away. I mean, it says it's likely to be delayed, but I mean, if the script ends up being good, they could go into production pretty quickly. I mean, unless Daisy Ridley has a bunch of movies lined up, which I don't know if she does or not. All right, then we have the James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie. Now, this is set 25,000 years before the Skywalker saga. Bo Williamson from Andor is co-writing the script. Thoughts on that?
It's going to be interesting, especially because they're going to be setting a lot of canon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of legends and there's a lot of canon stuff. So they're going to be cherry picking what they want, and they're going to be setting the line. You know. So
what do you think of James Mangold as like a franchise type filmmaker, considering he has an issue with franchise movies? Like they keep asking him to do this stuff, but he clearly doesn't want to do that. He likes to do his own separate, like, standalone movies.
I don't know, because you know, like how the MCU went for giving different directors their take.
Mm-hmm.
I think Star Wars could benefit from that because what we got with Star Wars Visions was nothing short of incredible.
Right.
So I think, stepping away from Lucas's template. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Could be interesting because, like say for example, Skeleton Crew, that had all of like the classic little wipes and all of like the classic.
It felt very like, you know how people were saying that because of the premise of it being like in a suburb of Star Wars, that it wasn't going to feel like Star Wars. I would argue that Skeleton Crew felt more like Star Wars than some of the other stuff we've had recently. To be quite honest,
100%. Yeah. It was very immersive. So. Yeah, I forget my point. Sorry.
Well, you were saying something about like, I guess about the idea of world building. And
yeah, no, yeah, sorry,
so,
yeah. So basically, basically, if they go for a completely fresh take on each movie that they make, that could still be Star Wars, we could find a new Star Wars. Do you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like
so you mean like he could go into it with the idea of like a standalone movie, and then that could be something that could build for more, right? Because it is 25,000 years before Skywalker. So I can't even, like, we're talking the very beginnings of the Jedi. So like that's pretty crazy. Harrison said, I still like Daisy as Rey, even though I don't love her being a Palpatine. So thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100% agree with him.
So why do you think they went with that? What do you think the reasoning behind that was? Like why they decided to swap that up and reveal her? Because originally I think they said she wasn't going to be connected to any of these like families.
Honestly,
you know what I mean?
I know we've just been like commending everybody, like Kathleen Kennedy and such, but I think it's a Disney problem that nobody there has a backbone to stick to any kind of vision that they are. Like especially like with a legacy thing like the MCU and Star Wars, where everybody holds such strong opinions. You know,
Harrison says J.J. Abrams' decision. Maybe.
I think I think she should have been no one or an Obi-Wan or something like that. I Kenobi, sorry. And I think the villain should like she could have kept it Snoke. It could have been anything else. Like why goddamn Palpatine?
Yeah. People are saying Disney problem. Seems like people are agreeing that that's one of the that's probably one of the issues with Disney. South Texas Shark said I wanted to see that X-Wing movie. The pilot movie, I guess. I forget what it was titled.
Yeah.
All right. So then we have the Lando. It was originally going to be a TV show. Now it's going to be a film written by Donald and Stephen Glover. So this is in that Solo universe, right? So this is basically, and I say Solo verse. I know it's all the same thing, but that film, a lot of people complained that it was so different from everything else that they kind of considered it its own little thing, its own little blip. I actually liked that movie. I know most people didn't. I thought it was a fun little, I don't want to say buddy cop, but like one of those adventure type
I liked
films.
Woody Harrelson in it.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I liked his version of Lando as well. I think it's good. But so what do you think this would look like, the Lando movie? Like what do you suspect they would even try to do with this character? Would it be like a backstory on what he was doing prior to us meeting him, or is it a continuation of what he's doing in Solo, and we're just going to follow him from there? Like, what do you think it's going to be?
I don't know. It depends on where. Again, like you say, where in his journey, right? Because obviously, Donald Glover's a bit older now.
Yeah.
So I think it will have to be after Solo. So I'd have to say he's on somewhat of a redemption arc, but not like an entirely emphatic one. I think he'll still have his hands in some pies, which may cause to some catastrophes and calamities.
So Spriggett says, so if they're rebooting the MCU, the chuds are right then. I don't think it was about right or wrong. It was like the inevitable was that at a certain point they would have to do something to introduce the X-Men. So it was kind of like a flip of a coin. You know what I mean? Like maybe they will.
No, it doesn't make them right. It just means that they listen to the smallest but loudest group.
Yeah. If they're doing it for that reason. But I actually think I think that the soft reboot, to be completely honest, is a combination of a couple things. And I don't think it really has to do with any of us saying stuff. Number one, I think it has to do with the X-Men. They need the X-Men to be in the MCU, and there's no way to make that work. I think they thought of everything they could. And there's no way to make that work without a soft reboot, because Darth, what you said, I think makes a lot of sense, which is, why would they target the X-Men or mutants in the world for having powers after we've seen how people with powers are treated in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? It just didn't make a lot of sense. I think that reboot, I think they had to do that. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah. But I would also then say, why have an experimental phase if like you're going to take nothing from that and push any of it forward?
That part, I think, is part of the financial problem. That was my other statement, was I think the reason why the soft reboot is happening is because they went through that span of time where Chapek was there at Disney Plus. They were trying to push out a bunch of stuff. They wanted to make the movies and the TV shows sort of be a symbiotic, for lack of a better term, relationship. And it didn't work out. And now they don't know how to right the ship. So in order for them to have their cake and eat it too, they have to soft reboot financially. I think that's the problem. And I will even go further into that when we get to the stuff about the Princess and the Frog, which we'll talk about right after this, on what I think is going on with them. Because look, the reality is that Disney as a company is worth, last time I checked, like $400 billion. So when they talk about not having money to do stuff, it is a shareholder thing. It is a board of directors thing. It is people at the top who don't want to give up their 5 houses and 3 boats. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. They have the money to do all these things. They just don't want to do them. That's the problem. They could push ahead with the Marvel Cinematic Universe for another 20 years, taking small bits here and there, taking hits financially, and never really affecting them in a big way, except the shareholders and the people at the top who have nothing to do with the creative side have to give up a little bit of their luxury, but the fans would be happy with some of these movies and these projects, but they won't do it. They won't do it. Again, we'll talk about that more in a second. All right, so then we have the Dave Filoni Star Wars movie, which is supposed to close out stories told in projects like The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, okay, so this needs to happen, right?
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because Ahsoka season 2 is going to be coming with a recast, and I think it's going to be setting up this movie. which leads me to believe that all of the speculation is true, and we could be getting Abeloth in that movie.
Oh, you think so?
Mm.
Okay.
If he's stepping in and creating a whole movie, just tying off all of those things, do you know what I mean? Because Grogu could very interestingly tie into that. Because if he like the whole reason he's going off with the Mandalorian, I believe, is to do his own little training. And he's just his father and backup. You know what I mean? His little. So, with that tying into the Ahsoka thing, wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. Wow.
So,
okay.
Harrison says, I think the soft reboot isn't the only way to get the X-Men in, but it's the quickest way to do it officially and move on to the drama of the multiverse. I disagree here. I don't see any way we can look at the MCU right now, minus what we're going to get with Doomsday and everything, and easily or logically put the X-Men in as we know them, with the same struggles they've had over the years, with the same stories they've had over the years, without softly rebooting the MCU. I don't see how that works. I don't see what that looks like. How would you do that? I mean, we're talking about a world where we've already had enhancements, we've already had heroes, we've already had the Sokovia Accords, we've already done all these things, and now we're going to drop in the idea of mutants on top of that, and then we'll be able to do all of the allegory stories that the X-Men have had in the MCU with all the stuff that's already occurred. I don't see how that works. I feel like a soft reboot is a way for them to introduce the idea of mutants being seen as negatives on society, while also allowing them to certainly bring in characters like a new Tony Stark, a new Steve Rogers, these things that they want to do. I don't see a path to that without a soft reboot. And I know you say it's the quickest way. I don't even think it's necessarily the quickest. I think a soft reboot is the opposite of the quickest. Because a quick way they could have done it is just drop Wolverine and Deadpool into the MCU. Congratulations, here we go. We're going to build the X-Men from these characters. That would have been the quickest way to do it. A soft reboot means that they have to take time to rebuild those characters before we ever get to like X-Men versus Avengers. I think the soft reboot is the longest path. Honestly. I think it might be the easiest. I don't think it's the quickest. Personally. Anyway. All right, so we're already 8 movies into this list, right? We still got 4 more things here.
This one, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
About.
So the Taika Waititi movie, still in the works with a new writer. I thought Taika was writing it. I guess not. Kathleen Kennedy loves the first act. So wait, how are they? I'm confused here. They can't keep the first act. Yeah, he's in everything that he makes in some way or another. But how can they keep the first act if they're looking for a new writer? I feel like that has to go because clearly the writer's not going to let them use his first act, right? I don't see that as being an option. Maybe they got something in the contract that allows them to keep it. I don't know. You still get writing credits, I suppose. But I would say this. I have a love-hate relationship with Taika Waititi. Yeah. Like, I think Taika Waititi, at his best, is when he has someone sort of keeping all of that crazy on the train, keeping all of it on the rails. Like, if you look at Thor Ragnarok, okay, that is the perfect storm of Taika Waititi being contained into giving him a direction to go in. And then the opposite of that is what we get in Love and Thunder, where I think they just gave him an opportunity to do whatever movie he wanted to do, and it just went off the rails. And it didn't work for me. There was a lot of issues with that movie. I think there's a lot of good stuff, but there's also a lot of crazy stuff that I just don't like. So I think personally, if he's going to do a Star Wars movie, he needs someone to help funnel that crazy in the right direction, if that makes any sense. If there's no safeguards on what his Star Wars movie is going to be, it is going to feel like an SNL skit. That's what it's going to feel like.
Or like one of those Star Wars like holiday specials back from the 80s.
Yeah. Unless it is Taika's own property, like something that he actually created, he needs someone to assist him in the big picture outside of what he's doing. Because like Our Flag Means Death. Have you ever seen that show? Did you ever watch that?
No, I meant to, but no.
Okay. There's like 2 seasons of it. It's not getting a 3rd season, but there's 2 seasons of it. Fantastic show. Total brainchild of Taika Waititi here. But it's absolutely bonkers. But he establishes that is the world that these characters exist in because it is his creation. So it's fine. But when you take that and you insert it into like an existing IP, it starts to fall out of reality. If that makes any sense. And I think that's what kind of happened with Thor: Love and Thunder for me. So him being connected to a Star Wars movie means he needs someone to help him funnel his genius into a project that makes sense. And my biggest fear is that's not what's going to happen. Is that your fear, or you have a different fear?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Because like you said, we got the masterpiece of Ragnarok, but then we got Thor: Love and Thunder. So it's a real roll of the dice, which is why I said I was very nervous about it.
Yeah.
He could be an absolute fan. Do you know what I mean? But again, like you said, some people go too wacky with it, which is not the direction.
Did you need to step away for a minute, or did you already step away?
No, I will be just for a second. But the next one, I gotta say, I'm very excited to talk about.
Okay, well, I'll wait for you to get back. All right, let me look at some chats here while he steps away. Defunct, good to see you. Same with me, Taika. Same with Taika for me, Eric. Yeah, 100%. 3Dub, good to see you. Comedy Star Wars, that's going to be weird. I feel like that's the way it's going to be with Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi is a genius, but also that genius sometimes needs to be funneled. So I think that it could be a funny Star Wars project, but it still needs to be funneled a little bit. Spricket says they were saying Miss Marvel's a mutant as well as Namor and Wakanda Forever. They were, but I don't think they totally explain what that means. Like I don't, because mutant as a term means something outside of the context of Marvel Comics. Mutants, mutations. A mutant in Marvel Comics is a very specifically connected term to a type of person with special abilities. And I don't think they truly established what that was in the MCU prior to these characters being called those things. So I think they did a very bad job of making that happen. And I actually think that might even be part of the reason why they're going to like soft reboot, is because they want to reestablish what a mutant is in the MCU without the hang on of Ms. Marvel and, the Namor stuff. Sorry, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, no, I'm just agreeing with you.
Yeah.
They set up like, this is the thing. This is why, like when Kevin Feige was more in charge than he is. Do you know what I mean? Overseeing more than he is, because obviously there's too much for any one person to do.
He was stretched too thin. That's why when they named him as a possible replacement for Kathleen Kennedy, I was like, fuck no. He's already got enough on his plate. I'm not doubting that he would do a good job, but unless he's passing the torch on to somebody else to take over Star Wars, no, keep him away from Star Wars. I think he would do a fine job, but he's got the reason why there was so much problems with like phase 4, I think, in terms of quote unquote quality control, was that he had too much going on. That's what I think the issue was. Yeah. Personally.
This is why the show Bible is going to be so important, because it helped keep the line that he was keeping. Do you know what I mean? Like, it sets a standard.
Yeah.
So I think like that's going to be like a really important thing going forward.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see as well, like how different they decide to be after the reboot.
Yeah.
Because they could just change up completely. Because
I'm nervous, but I'm excited. Like, it's a nervous excitement to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, right. Because we've had the MCU formula for what, 17 years, if not longer.
Yeah.
Right. So, like to have something completely fresh and original. Wow. Let's find out what that feels like, right?
I agree. All right, we got 3 more things here to talk about, and then we're going to cover this Disney news that's going to be a bummer, but we'll get there. We have Shawn Levy's Star Wars movie here, starring Ryan Gosling They're going to bring back some sequel trilogy characters. It's a standalone movie that takes place 5 to 6 years after Episode 9. Is this the one that you said that you're excited about? Is that what you were?
I'm very interested by this.
Okay.
Right? Because Shawn Levy is involved in some of my favorite random movies.
Mm-hmm.
Right? One of them being Real Steel.
Wait, he was involved with that movie? Real Steel? Really?
Yeah. From what
I
I
didn't
can tell,
know
yeah.
that. Okay.
So basically, he's another mixed bag. He's a real dark horse, you know. The interesting thing about the movie as well is that it's Ryan Gosling, which makes me feel that they're gonna lean off of Blade Runner and use him as a kind of Harrison Ford replacement in a kind of Han Solo type. Maybe with
so that smuggler adventuring type character, like something along those lines.
Yeah. I feel like that with the female, like Finn and the female he was with, and then the one that was escaping the planet.
Oh, yeah.
With the coins, I think they might be the returning characters, which would be cool.
That sounds good.
Mm.
All right, so then we have the Rogue Squadron, which is reportedly canceled, but March 2024. Patty Jenkins confirmed she's still developing it and working on the script. I don't know if this is ever going to happen.
Iffy.
I know that they say it's still out there, but I feel like this is one of those ones that if it never happens, I don't know if I'd be surprised.
I feel bad saying it, but I feel like Patty Jenkins is like the living embodiment of the Blade movie.
Because of everything she's attached to that just never happens. Yeah.
And it keeps getting dragged along, and then it's like, sorry, we're moving in another direction.
Yeah. All right, so the last one we have on the list here, and this one's the one that I think a lot of people were kind of iffy about because of the way the sequel trilogy went, but Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy. Now, this is still in the works, but it is postponed until he's finished with the Knives Out films, which I think the last one comes out on Netflix next year, I think. So it'll be at least another year before we get to this, most likely. But this is another trilogy, so it's another 3-movie trilogy, obviously. That's what trilogy means. So 3 more films. Are you a fan of Rian Johnson? What do you think about this?
The Knives Out things are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And to kind of reinvent the whodunit. In this day and age when everybody's so cynical and gives so much attention to detail is no small feat. Right. So I think he's massively capable of working this, and I think if given enough freedom, I think he could do very, very well. So
you've seen both of the Knives Out movies then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Great murder mystery, flip on a murder mystery. I think it's just amazing stuff. Do you think that's kind of the vibe he wants to bring to Star Wars, in the movies? Do you think he wants to do that with the trilogy, bringing that mystery element to it? Because I think he could do a good job, especially if not necessarily a copy of Knives Out, but something with a mystery that builds up to something big. I would be okay with that.
Yes and no, right? Because the thing is, obviously, that Star Wars for the most part is a child's franchise, right? So you can't have anything too
would you want them to do something like that? Would you want them?
Oh no, absolutely. But it's what will be in tone with the franchise. Do you know what I mean? Because while I was saying earlier that every director should have some creative freedom to create their vision, it still can't be too out there. It can't just all of a sudden turn into Winnie Pooh, Blood and Honey. You know what I mean?
That movie. That was funny.
So yeah. I think he could do very well.
All right, so we have a super chat here from Staggervore, $4.99 super chat. Are you planning on seeing Novocaine? When does that come out? I know it's. Let me look over here. I know it's this year. I think it's
a Kanye West movie.
No. It's a Jack Quaid movie from The Boys, where he plays a person that can't feel pain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it comes out March 14th. I'll probably check it out. Like, I'll give it a shot. I don't know if I'll see it like the day it opens, but I'll probably see it that weekend, if I have a chance. But thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I'll try to go see it. All right, hold on. Where are we at here? All right, so let me pull up this news about the Princess and the Frog stuff, because it kind of feeds into the state of sort of Disney right now, re-establishing what they want to do. Let's see. All right, here we go. So the Tiana animated series is being scrapped at Disney Plus and will never be released. The series was in production, so they've already started. They had already started working on this. I don't know how far along it was. I tried to find that earlier, but I'm not really seeing any definitive information on that. But the crazy thing is, and let me see if I can find the tweet about this, which, by the way, I'm not big on Disney princess movies, so this might be heartbreaking for someone, which I understand. And obviously for the representation aspect of it, it's just another, problem with Disney and them being able to get things off the ground. But they were saying, right here it is. Walt Disney Animation is no longer developing any original long-form content for Disney Plus. This is kind of crazy. Oh. Well, this is why, Darth. They have decided that they are no longer going to develop long-form content for Disney Plus. So small series or things like that is fine, but movies and things like that, if you're not going... Okay. I'm screaming even though I know Disney isn't listening. Where else would you put Disney long-form animated content other than your own streaming platform? What sense does this make? I feel like Disney Plus is obviously making money for them now. But if they follow this route of now we're making money and we're going to stop making content, that's not going to end well for them. I've said this before. Disney has tried its best to bolster its library with stuff like Hulu and Fox and things like that. But I don't want old stuff on Disney Plus. I want new stuff. Otherwise, I'm not going to keep subscribed to it. So when you start getting rid of content that people want, what am I paying for? You're already expensive as it is.
Yeah.
Look what's happened to HBO Max or Max. It's essentially all of the Warner Brothers properties were supposed to be on that streaming service. You buy into it, you get access to all the Warner Brothers movies, all the classic stuff, all the animated stuff, all the things they've worked on over the years. And when Discovery came along and David Zaslav came along, literally dismantled that and started selling it off like it was just a warehouse full of stuff they needed to dump off to other places. And now it has no identity anymore. None. If you're going to make animated stuff, which is one of the things Disney is known for, you would expect that stuff would be on Disney Plus.
Yes, they're gonna keep it as a stage house for all their movies that come out.
Yeah, it doesn't look good seeing they announced this right after Black History Month too. Yeah. I mean, I've got a tweet for that. I want to bring that up here in a second. One Marvel fan says, I think I want to go back to making mostly films. But the problem is, and this goes back to that era of Phase 4 and Bob Chapek and all that, when you start out feeding someone treats for something, and then you take those treats away from them, they will stop coming back to that thing. So once they start removing original content from Disney Plus, they're going to see people back away from Disney Plus. Because a lot of people will just watch it somewhere else. Or, why would I say subscribe to watch old stuff unless I'm playing it for my kids? And this is kids content. So they wouldn't even be interested. How many times can you watch something on repeat before you lose your mind doing it? You know what I mean? This is crazy to me. It's crazy. I did see the tweet here from Black Gay Comic Geek where he says, Tiana canceled. Blade has been in development hell. Seems like Armor Wars is canceled. Okoye canceled. Brave New World was more about Thaddeus Ross than Sam Wilson. Wow, I didn't even think about that, but that's I can see that argument as well. It seems like Disney doesn't know what to do with their black-led shows and properties. That's what I mean. It's not a good look, especially with all the drama going on right now with the whole DEI woke stuff and all that. Like, this is not a good look for Disney. It's just not. And there's no amount of like sort of mumbo jumbo financial stuff you can argue, because again, I'm going to say this, $400 billion company. I think they're still, let me see I think they're the most profitable company in the world. Let's see, most successful entertainment company in the world. Walt Disney. Walt Disney is, because they own Marvel Studios, Pixar, Lucasfilm, 20th Century Fox, and ESPN. They also have their theme parks, merchandising, and streaming services. They are number one. And I think the last time I looked, they were around $400 billion. So excuse me for not feeling sorry that you can't afford to make a cartoon for some kids. Excuse me for that. 400 billion. It's almost an unfathomable number for people. You know what I mean? Like you can't even wrap your head around how much money that is, and how this like nickel and diming of their fans is so offensive. So offensive to me. Let's see here. So Harrison said they see how much they can make with having Moana 2 in cinemas for Donkey, so I guess it wouldn't be surprised if that's going straight forward. Well, I would say this. I think if this were going to be transformed into a feature-length like release, I would agree with your statement about Moana 2 being a big thing for them. But if they're just going to do away with it completely, that tells me there's something else going on. Because if Moana 2, which has gone on to be a massive success for them financially, why would they feel that this one wouldn't be? You know what I mean? What would be the reason for that? What is the real reason they're not moving forward with this? Because that would tell me there's something else going on. And I'm not putting on my tinfoil hat right now, but I'm just saying there's something else going on.
She's one of the most loved princesses. Exactly.
Yeah. Here's another thing, a couple small things before we wrap it up here, but seems like George Miller says he's going to make another Mad Max film if the stars align. Script is done, takes place 1 year before Fury Road, has at least one film he'd make before it. So, like, I'm sorry that his last movie, even though it's a great movie, did not perform well financially. I don't know if the studios are going to give him another shot. Do you think they would? Do you think they would give him another shot at a Mad Max movie?
Yeah.
So,
because at this point it's 50-50. So,
yeah.
Like, what does it hurt to round off a trilogy?
Yeah, I don't, the way I look at it is I enjoy the Mad Max movies, but I don't think they've ever been huge movies, right? In theaters? Am I remembering this correctly?
I don't remember them being so, no.
Oh, wait, somebody shared, sent me this just now about Disney things that are not happening that were shared like just a couple years ago. One of them was obviously this recently canceled Tiana. Then there was a Beauty and the Beast prequel series that was supposed to be coming out. I forgot this was even happening.
Didn't even know that was a thing. Jesus
but it was
Christ.
announced. It was announced. Was anybody excited for this one?
Okay. So this is the thing. Like whether the prince was charming or a douche depends on like the tone of Beauty and the Beast. Like it completely changed it. So like deciding either way might ruin some people's headcanon.
Yeah. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, Swiss Family Robinson series. I don't remember this one at all.
Nope.
When was this announced? Wow. Okay. We have one more here. Star Wars: A Droid Story. I remember this.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever say why this wasn't happening?
Nope.
Let me look this up quickly.
Just quietly went under the rug, same as all the others.
Let's see here. Oh wow! So look at this. C-3PO and R2-D2 are getting a Disney Plus series called Star Wars: A Droid Story. This is from 2020. Look at the first the first reply to this. We didn't ask for this.
Simpson should do it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow. Holy shit. All right, let me double check and make sure we've done all the topics. Chad, is there anything that you want to talk about? We'll do a couple of, if you guys got a couple super chats or some topics you want us to talk about, drop it in now. Jose became a Team Eric member. Thank you so much, Jose. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Check it out. Early access. All the badges, all the emojis. I do appreciate it. Keeping the lights on in here. Are you joining me on Saturday for the birthday stream? Are you going to be here for that or no?
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm working that night, so it depends on what time you're doing it.
It's going to be basically the same time that it was last time I did a Saturday stream. So like middle of the day for me. Like 1 o'clock my time. So wait. It's 1:30 a.m. for me now. So literally the opposite of this in the daytime. So is about the time I'll start. At work. But I'm going to go for like 5 hours. So you should have plenty of time to get here.
I work 2:10 on Saturday's 2:8, so maybe.
Yeah. We'll see. Jose dropping all the email. I wish they showed up here on StreamYard, but it doesn't. I'm just going through my bookmarks to see what I got here. This was interesting. Let's see, pull this up. So I thought this was already confirmed, but I guess it wasn't. So the director of Captain America: Brave New World, and I distinctly remember talking about this, but I want to reiterate this. The suit gives him enhanced strength, enhanced speed, and the Wakandan energy can release and absorb kinetic energy through his wings. So basically, the suit turns him into a super soldier. He's basically Iron Man, essentially, without all the guns and stuff. I distinctly remember talking about this, though. So I don't know why this is coming out as new information all of a sudden. Did we talk about it? Were you on stream one day when I talked about this? I don't remember, but chat, maybe you'll remember. But I thought that there was someone, maybe it was someone else. Maybe it wasn't the director. Maybe it was somebody else connected with the production of the movie who said this. That when he's wearing the suit, he's essentially a super soldier. So, that was kind of interesting. All right, so Jose here says, any opinion about the Oscars? I think I do this every time we have the big award show stuff. I don't care about awards. I just don't. I think it's all rigged. I think it's all based on stuff that's just behind the scenes. I think Honora, like everybody involved with that, won a bunch of awards, and now they're saying that it's coming into question because of corruption in the system or something along those lines. Like they're questioning whether or not they should have been allowed to win awards based on lead actor, lead actress categories and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. Look, it's great for the actors when they end up getting these accolades and they can use them to get another job down the road. But as fans, I don't like fighting over stuff like this. I don't like going, oh, that person was robbed and I'm so angry about it. I was actually working on Sunday or last night when it was happening, and everybody wanted Cynthia Erivo to win for Wicked. And then I think it was Mikey Madison. Is that her name? From Honora. I think that's who it was. Yeah. Mikey Madison. I don't remember. I think she won for that role, and everybody was like, why did she win over Cynthia Erivo? And I've not seen Honora, so I don't know. Most of the stuff in those categories I haven't seen, except for the stuff like Substance and Wicked and things like that. So I don't know necessarily why, but I know a lot of people were upset. And I just don't care. I mean, I just don't give a shit, really. Is that bad? I think it's all like I do know that Adrian Brody, I did see this live where he was doing his acceptance speech and they started playing the music after he was up there for a couple of minutes telling him he needed to wrap it up. He was like, no, cut the music. Did you see the clip? Did you see this?
No.
He was like, no. I've done this a few times. Cut the music. I promise I'm going to be brief. And then he went on for like 5 minutes. And it caused the show to go over because of that, because he talked for 5 minutes. And here's the thing. He didn't say anything important enough for him to talk for another 5 minutes. It was really fucking crazy. Crazy. Jasmine here said, I think Foggy's going to die. This is Daredevil Born Again. I've heard something big happens in the first 10 minutes and it might be his death. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Does that piss too many people off?
I said the same thing. I'm going in as a fresh viewer because I haven't watched the next listings. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to be getting invested like in Foggy just for the simple fact that like I'm assuming that I've got 2 episodes with him before he just disappears.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know if this is going to be good for like the long-term viewers, but I think the emotional impact for people that watch the previous seasons will probably be established if this is what happens. Like we'll go into it going, what the fuck? Like, can't believe it. You know what I mean? Like that'll be the reaction. But I think people that are watching it brand new that haven't watched the previous seasons will probably not give a shit. We'll see. We'll see how they set it up. Omega's in the chat. Yeah, I don't care about the Oscars. It's just Hollywood jerking itself off. Well, you know, if who's going to do it for them if they don't do it themselves? Lone Wolf says, Honora's good. The first few minutes might make you go, no, I'm good. But the longer you sit through it, turns it's sad in a good way. I'll probably check it out. Like, I'm one of those people where a lot of the Oscar bait movies I just don't watch. I just don't. I think Honora only made 40 million worldwide. And I think they said that's one of the lowest grossing Oscar winners ever, or at least in modern times. So, you know, I don't know. But anyway, I think that's where we're going to wrap this up. Let me make myself larger on the screen. I want to thank everybody for being here. And Darth, thank you for joining in and staying the whole time. They can still hear you, by the way. So, thank you for joining in and being here. Definitely go over and check out Darth's channel. Give him a subscription if you could. Thanks, Paigey, for being here. I do appreciate it. Thoughts on Drake? No comment. Go and check out Kendrick Lamar. I'm sure he can tell you everything you need to know about Drake. Anyway, the next time I see everybody, Daredevil Born Again will be out. So we're going to be talking about that on Wednesday at the Afterparty, which will return on Wednesday with myself and Paigey. And we'll be talking about Daredevil. So you guys can join in. It'll be at 5:30 on Wednesday. There's no Thursday Nerdcast. And the reason why is we're doing my birthday stream on Saturday. So no stream on Thursday. Any news or stories or whatever we'll hold over till Saturday. You guys have been very awesome with your donations tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun going around and picking out some stuff for me to try. Paige is going to help me with that. So, yeah, I'm super excited. Anyway, anything you need to say, Darth, before we head out?
I know. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
All right. Thanks, everyone. And, yeah, my birthday will be this week. I'm excited. Super excited. So, you know, take care, everybody, and we will see you next time. Bye.